Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Fly for a Senpai. I'm here with my other senpais and this 12-pack of Pipu Cola. We're ready to go bounty hunting across the galaxy. I'm Time Muffin.
Hello, I'm Shark Wellington, and guys, I made us beef and bell peppers.
Again?
That's my favorite.
There's no beef though.
What the? What? That's illegal. Hold on. I'm gonna call Big Shot. We're gonna put a bounty on your head.
We crashed the podcast last episode, and so we had to pay for repairs.
Oh God.
I suppose fair point.
I'm Hero 19X, and I'm eating this beef and bell peppers, and where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Where's the beef? We're talking about Cowboy Bebop today, about space bounty hunting and how I'm gonna report Shark Wellington to Big Shot for not putting beef in that beef and bell pepper.
Yeah. So 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Oh my goodness. That's such a good hit. Like, legitimately, the whole soundtrack, I felt like I had nostalgic whiplash at a couple points, because I didn't realize, back in the days of Kazaa, it's just music that just has a name for the title of the song, and I didn't know where it came from sometimes. Apparently, I was way into anime music without realizing it back when I was in middle school. And, I just had a whole CD full of, this music. So, Cats on Mars started playing in the Ed episode, the first one. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, is this where this song is from? Oh, it's taking me back. It's taking me back.
I started playing through the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack on my phone. I have YouTube Music, and it recommends similar stuff. So I started with just Tank, and over time, it's just kind of taken over my playlist. It's so good, though. The intro has not aged a day, and it is old enough to drink.
Mm-hmm.
It's super good.
I don't know how inspired the Archer introduction was by Cowboy Bebop's intro, but they're so similar that I have to think that there was some overlap there.
I haven't seen. It's been a long time since I've seen Archer.
I was about to say same.
It's been a minute.
Well, then never mind.
But I could totally see that. Now that I'm thinking about it, here. I just want to look it up real quick. Just so. Oh yeah, I see that right here.
Oh,
just from the one picture. That's pretty close.
If I mention that to Jess, she'll probably get it right away because she watches Archer like crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That is very close. Good eye, Shark.
Your eyes are good.
I like your eyes.
Yeah, your eyes are pretty awesome.
It's actually a clever ruse. I have to wear contacts.
Oh, jeez. Oh. I feel betrayed.
I never felt so underhanded.
Yeah, big props to Seat Belts.
Mm-hmm.
The jazz band.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, they were assembled specifically for this anime.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, they were active until 2004, and then they came back in 2020 for some virtual concerts for COVID-19 relief, which is very cool. Apparently, they are still doing something because the Wikipedia says -present.
I think they are doing the music for the live action adaptation.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
they're back. They're back.
They're back, baby.
They are back, and they are properly buckled in. Their seatbelts.
True to the name.
The sound design is such a high point of this anime as well.
It's real good.
Something that I really appreciated a lot was how much the footsteps add to the weight of the scenes, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
When a character is just strolling up to someone else silently, it just they're all wearing these business shoes, I guess, They've got very distinct shoe on stone.
Spike has heels on practically.
True.
Those shoes he's got lifts.
Spike's feet are ginormous.
True. He's a very big boy.
They just, I don't know why that stuck out to me. Just that anytime someone is walking or running anywhere, you hear every single footstep. And that just added so much for me for some reason. It just made it feel so much more real.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think about the whole series is because when it was made back in 1998, this was all like the technology that was primarily there, like VHS and not HD TVs, and I don't know, the way that they took all of that stuff and made it all futury and spaceshipy without making it, I don't know, like Star Trek, where it's just like ethereal screens and buttons, and it's something it feels more real given that it, I don't know, it has technology based in real life to an extent, just makes it feel more tangible from like a setting perspective.
I think they were going for a more believable science fiction. It's not, they aren't synthesizing food from atoms and teleporting themselves from one place to another. I think the anime takes place in 2071.
Correct.
2070s. So when this came out, that would have been 75-ish years into the future, which it's funny the things that they drew on from that present day that don't make sense now because it would have all been phased out.
Yep.
All their screens are 4:3. They got Pipu cans that look like the old style of Pepsi, and the logo doesn't match anymore. They don't have white cans.
It's good stuff. I did like, yeah, it had currently, watching it in 2021, it had a retro feel to it, but it wasn't like distracting. Like sometimes watching old stuff, you're like, oh, it's so the way that they use technology in like these sci-fi things is just so distracting. But in this one, it felt very lived in, I guess I would say.
That is a great word to use. The world feels very alive and a little bit dirty. It's not polished like some sort of future civilizations. It's been destroyed and rebuilt a few times, especially Earth. There are so many meteor showers that those guys that are trying to keep a map have to just drive around constantly to keep remapping things.
When I was watching the anime, like with the with the music and the the way that the Cowboy Bebop looked in general, I'm not gonna lie, I teared up because it just made me think, what the hell happened? Like, how did anime back in the 90s to me look so much better than like right now when they finished like Dragon Ball Super with like the way that like how some of the episodes looked. So it just blows my mind with us in the future trying to use like CG and all this other stuff to do anime, when back in the day, I think personally just doing the hand-drawn stuff, just it looks so much better.
They, like, it was crazy that we went from last episode, it was Dragon Maid, and it was some of the best like animation for modern anime, and then going to this, which it had a lot of the same fluid motion in moments that were kind of like little moments, even like when they're just hanging out on the ship, like you get like 60 FPS Spike just laying on a couch, just like moving his like, just I don't know, playing with his hands, fidgeting, and then that translates really well into the fights, which are also crazily well animated, and it's to the point where like I know that it's not like a secret. It's pretty ubiquitous, but like one of I think the fight from the movie gets like plagiarized all the time in other anime because they're like, well, this is just so good. We just need to just trace every frame and put it in a different setting because it's so damn good. I think Naruto uses that fight, but like it's that good that decades later it's still being like intra-industry plagiarized to be used again.
I remember that one of the early fights, either in the first or the second episode, I noticed that the camera, quote unquote camera, because it's, you know, an animation, but it had this bit of life to it when when Spike or the person he was fighting would move in and out of the frame, there would be a little bit of human lag, for lack of a better term, where the camera would take a moment to readjust. It wasn't tracking them perfectly, and it felt so real, and I just really appreciated that. It felt like such a minor but effective detail, and it's something that they could easily continue to do, but I never see it anywhere else. So I really appreciated they do so much with the viewpoint. There are just so many angles, and I think it doesn't quite dawn on you because we're used to that in live action, but animated, that had to have been such a pain for every conversation to have 5 different angles between the characters, and they don't skimp. None of them are behind the head. You know, we had the character talk away from the camera to save frames.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a big thing that you mentioned that, and we talked about it a couple episodes ago, and it's something that you don't think about it anymore because it is so ubiquitous across all anime. The frame saving, because the industry is a nightmare. But yeah, back in 1998, what's his name? Tetsuya Watanabe he's just like, no, we're just gonna, if someone's talking, we're showing their face. I don't know. It's crazy that, I don't know, like there's just so much anime being produced now compared to back then, maybe, that it's just a production line, or not production line. What do I want to say? I don't know. Can't find the words. Anyway, it's just like before you're even really done with the thing you're working on, they're like, all right, well, you got 2 more projects, so you got to chop. Can't direct the scene differently so that we can move on. That last episode, just make it a PowerPoint slideshow. We don't care. Move on. The series is over anyway.
I think that it's a common thing to buy time by pushing out low quality scenes and then for the full release making a better scene. I've seen side by sides of original TV release versus final product.
Oh, like DVD release or Blu-ray?
Yeah. I believe Konosuba even did it. Interesting.
I haven't seen that, but I have heard of it happening in like manga, like One Punch Man. It's basically the guy, God, I can't remember
I don't remember what the guy's name is, but I know what you're talking about. The dude's drawings are like not I don't want to say not as good, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but even the guy who is doing the better drawings in the manga, the stuff that comes out once a month in Shonen Jump, is different than the stuff that comes out in the published mangas that are on store shelves. Like, they are upgraded. So I suppose that's another, that's an interesting thing too.
I'm gonna compare next time, because I buy One Punch Man manga like as it comes out. So I didn't notice that, but now I'm using the Shonen Jump app a lot. So
I mean, not to make too hard of a turn into One Punch Man manga, but my God, some of the more recent chapters of One Punch Man and on Shonen Jump is just, it goes so hard. It goes so hard into like M-rated like body horror that it's just crazy. Like I was just not expecting it at all. Hero knows. Anyway, back to talk about Cowboy Bebop here. What was your guys' favorite like villain character? Because there was kind of like a villain of the week kind of thing going on in each episode for the most part, except for like Vicious.
God, so it's gonna sound weird because I don't want to say it's the villain isn't really my favorite, but honestly, just the whole episode based around him was amazing. The Teddy Bomber. With oh yeah, is it Andy the cowboy dude? My God, I loved every time I heard the whistle and he came out. I'm just like, no, get this guy out of here, Spike. He's gonna mess things up, dude. We gotta get a bounty for once, please.
I knew you were going to pick that episode. I knew you would.
I was dying the whole time, and I love as soon as you heard the whistle, you know it's gonna come out of nowhere. And near the end of that episode, Spike was hearing someone whistle and he thought it was him gonna pop up, but it wasn't. And I was happy that I guess that Spike I don't want to say recognize that when you hear the whistle he comes out, but I was happy that it wasn't just like a thing that only us can hear. All the other characters could hear the whistle.
Did you recognize Cowboy Andy's voice in the English version? Did you watch the Japanese or the English?
I watched the subs.
I watched the dub.
This is the one anime I gotta watch the dub. I gotta watch the dub for Steve Bloom. But the dubs, Cowboy Andy is Darren Norris, who is known for Cosmo and Mr. Turner and Fairly Odd Parents.
God. I knew you were going to say something wild, but not that wild.
And the crazy janitor in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Man.
At least from our childhoods.
Man, some Fairly Odd. You got your Fairly Odd Parents in my space western. That tracks though, and I'm hearing it now. I mean,
yeah. Really reminded me of Isaac from Baccano.
Oh yeah,
the cowboy vibe.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
100%.
So for my answer, gotta go with Pierre LaFaux.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you asked that question, because if you didn't, I was going to segue into Pierre. I loved that episode. And it's funny because they had a previous episode that I feel was sort of meant to be a little bit of a horror episode, the one with the rock lobster. Yep. And that sort of predator vision doing that alien in the vents stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't nearly as scary. And I think something that really did it was that whenever Spike and Pierre were fighting, the sound designed it so much, there would be these high screechy bows, a string orchestra. His teeth were like,
it's so horrifying still.
I have traveled here to take your lives. Oh man, that episode was so wild.
Yeah, the aesthetic of that episode too is just so like bright, like compared to like they did like a horror thing with it, but like the whole last half of it is just like bright greens and blues and super crazy. I love it.
Dude was Space Joker.
Space.
I felt like it was more. He was the big boy, right? The one I thought he looked a little bit like the Penguin.
Oh.
Well, I think all that was a fat suit because he opens it up and there's a bunch of pistols and knives and stuff.
True.
Spike Spiegel is the Space Batman.
Space Batman.
Dang.
I They never explained how he can fly, though.
No, they didn't.
No.
And you know what? It's kind of cheap to say that he's the most amazing killing machine when he's wearing a shield. It's not like that makes you especially good at killing people. His gun has infinite ammo. Have you ever seen him reload that thing?
True.
Like, dude was shooting a dozen bullets out of his little tiny cane. I call BS.
He had a pistol that was like a rocket launcher.
Yeah. It just depended on what he was feeling like. He'd either be shooting a slug or a rocket, whatever. He just thinks it and it comes into reality. So I think he was cheating a little bit.
He's a cheater. I mean, naturally, though.
But eat pumpkins. What about you, Time Muffin?
Oh, I really liked the satellite.
The satellite was good. That was a good one.
That's not the answer I expected.
It was
Very
unexpected. I just liked that it was unexpected, and then I don't know. I like Ed just in general. Edward Wong Hao, whatever the hell their name is.
Any episode that Ed was in, like not like a centerpiece, but anytime Ed was just doing something crazy, it was always a good time.
Yeah. I like that it wasn't, it was more like an ambiguous, like he's just making drawings of pictures and stuff on the planet. That's all. It's just all he knows how to do.
He's not hurting anyone.
He's not hurting anybody.
Because he was lonely.
He was lonely. He had nothing better to do.
He was just drawing some frames.
And then he made friends, exactly. Making some friends with people who then turned him into the police, but sometimes that's just what happens, okay? You just gotta roll with the punches. I think another reason I like that episode, maybe the introduction to Ed and the music also is causing me to like that episode more than maybe I should, but that's my answer is the satellite.
I have to admit that I felt a little bit, you know how when you get older, people talk about starting to sympathize more with Squidward? I was kind of feeling that about Ed, because when I was younger, I would think to myself, I would be Ed's friend in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm older, I think I would just be concerned with how I keep Ed occupied so I can have some time to myself.
True.
Adopt the I hate critters kids and women. Critters kids and freeloaders. Whatever the hell it was that he said.
In the English dub it was pets, kids, and women with attitudes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they had he just says women in the sub. It's what the sub popped up with, but like I was getting there by the end where it's like, okay, Ed, just use your words. Tell me what's happening. You're just making noises and talking to yourself. Let me into your world.
Open your mind.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I like the vibe she brings to the ship and how she makes things a little happier rather than. And then yeah, like you're talking about the Predator Vision episode, the like lobster monster that I still don't understand where the monster came from, other than the fridge.
That's the only thing I could think of, and it was that episode was kind of close to being like my number one, because it was like how Shark said, it reminded me a lot of like an Alien Predator type of like episode, and it was just fun, just trying to see everyone trying to figure out where it is, and Spike going all out with like a flamethrower and everything. It just was really cool.
It was very cool, and it did very much feel like Aliens, like very much inspired by that.
Especially when he pulls out a flamethrower.
Yes, especially.
Only time that they have a flamethrower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was. I liked how I just ate it. It's just like
done.
Sleep eats the thing. There was some. I mean, it was still the 90s.
They put a lot of weird things in their mouths.
You need to elaborate.
I mean, Faye ate dog food.
True.
What did Spike swallowed something in one of the episodes? What was it?
It was a chip, poker chip.
Yeah.
He swallowed the chip.
But he coughed it back up, though.
Yeah, then he regurgitated it because apparently he could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I did want to talk about how food sort of plays a role in this anime.
Now we're talking about dog food.
That
was a good segue.
Well, there are so many episodes where just the whole reason they're doing anything is that they're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not hungry, they're wishing they were eating something better.
Uh-huh.
Anytime they get their hands on just one type of food, that's their food for the next couple of weeks. When they get the shiitake mushrooms, it's 5 different mushroom dishes. When they get the eggs, hey, we're just having hard-boiled eggs and nothing else tonight.
Yep.
Which also kind of begs the question, the Big Shot show said something like 200,000 bounty hunters in the universe, in the solar system, and Spike is one of the best ones. The one, the Teddy Bomber episode, he says people far and wide talk about not getting caught by you and Andy. They are the 2 premier well-known bounty hunters. And yet Spike is always struggling for money.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I literally just like, what is happening right now with every episode? They have not gotten a single bounty from anyone. How are they? How is things happening?
I agree. Yeah, it's crazy.
At the same time, the police are always rejecting their bounties. You know, they won't pay because it's a computer. They won't pay because that. There's always some reason that they're not going to pay out the bounties, and the ones that they do get are just pocket change.
Get teeny weeny.
Like the Chess Master episode where like the cops offered to give them something, but Jet was like, just leave the old man alone. But then the old man dies. So it's like, Jet, I get it being a good guy. I'm down. I feel you. I love it. But bro, you gotta eat, man. You gotta eat something.
They like willingly left behind so many bounties. Jet especially. There, what was it? The one with his ex.
Yep.
And he's just like, take care of her, even though you could feed me for a while. Like, protect her. Oh wait, he got picked up by the cops literally the next scene. Dude,
it makes you think, did he get the bounty, or did the cop just literally just take it and it's done? I didn't understand that scene.
I don't know.
I saw it as the cops just swooped in because he wasn't. He was like off to the side with her.
True.
Like not like in the thick of it, which is where he would have been. It's like, come on, man, come on,
come on. It did get a little bit frustrating because it always felt like some sort of Deus Ex Machina was just going to yank away the bounty, and you started to really want them to succeed, but it was just sort of the nature of the show that they've always got to be struggling.
I suppose comfort doesn't exactly lend itself to great storytelling.
Yeah.
Spike and Jet and Faye just chilled for like a while after they got their big score.
and then they retared for 5 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Time for the beach episode.
Oh my god.
Oh
Can you
my
imagine
God.
a Cowboy Bebop slice of life anime? I think that it's interesting. Like, I don't want to call it like filler episodes because they're not filler episodes, but like there's really like one main like story thread for kind of through the whole thing, like the whole Spike and Vicious storyline, and everything else has kind of happened around it. Some things intertwined, but it was interesting that the Spike and Vicious stuff only really popped up like it was maybe half the episodes were about that, and everything else was kind of Like the Predator episode, I think would probably be the closest thing to a filler episode.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time we got to see Vicious was, I think it was like 1 or 2 episodes in between, in the middle of the anime, then 2 episodes at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like 1 at the start, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the end.
Yep.
And like he like pokes his head in occasionally just to be like, oh, by the way, I'm still
alive.
here. Yeah. But like those episodes were so good, like especially compared to like the goofy funny episodes.
Exactly.
like Jamming with Edward. It's like, okay, the first time we see Vicious, like episode 5, it's like Spike jumps out of like there's this like noir like emotional music playing as he jumps out of like a cathedral window, and like as he's falling he's like remembering like their past together. It's crazy. There's just so many emotional moments like that in those Vicious scenes. Like in that center one, Jupiter Jazz, it was the same thing, where it was just there's a lot of feelings and emotions and like interesting things going on. And then it's like, oh, we're back to playing virtual chess with I don't know. I really like that story line altogether, all things told.
Vicious walked a very close line between being serious and intimidating and feeling like the goth kid in the room.
Yeah.
They did it well. But they were a little bit close. I did think to myself his low gravelly voice would have been a better Batman in the Christopher Nolan trilogy. It's a little less goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved if he would have said at some point in reference to Julia, "Where is she? Where is she? Where is she?"
That's good stuff. Yeah, no, Ed was super edgelord. Like this is kind of the age before Ed, like that whole edgelord persona trope was a thing, but he was there. He was definitely there. He had his big sword. Yeah, he was just bringing swords to gunfights.
That's confidence right there.
It is confidence.
Didn't he deflect bullets with his sword at one point? Or am I misremembering?
Maybe. I don't recall
It
specifically.
wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you.
I love the Vicious and Spike. Their whole... It's a very simple story why they don't like each other.
Yeah.
It's boys work together. One boy has girl. Other boy likes girl too. Girl likes other boy. First boy becomes the head of a intergalactic crime syndicate. You know, a tale as old as time.
I'm so sad about how little we got of Julia, but it also makes sense. I think it helps the audience relate to how Spike feels, because all we've been hearing the whole series is about Julia. He's looking for Julia. He just hears her name and he drops everything and just goes.
It blows my mind because like I got everyone can't see it at the podcast, but I got this picture from an anime convention, and it's literally like Julia on Spike. I'm like, I don't see this scene at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Like it's just like we only seen Julia like so many times. It's just like I haven't seen this.
Yeah,
I would love to.
Yeah, she's only really in one half of an episode, I think.
I think it's all near the end.
She pops up in the middle during that 2 episode thing. I think this is where like I feel like if this like production mindset could be brought into like modern anime where they're telling longer form stories where not every episode needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
Like nowadays you have the series like we'll say, okay, well, we're just going to keep the meme going, like Odd Taxi, where there's a story that gets told over the course of 13 episodes, and that is that's the story, is the 13 episodes. And there are little smaller stories that are like 4 episodes in the middle, or 6 episodes somewhere in the middle, or 2 episodes at the start. But like, yeah, this is very the most 90s thing about, or the most old school anime thing about it is just the fact that it is everything has to have a beginning, middle, and end in one episode. We need to wrap it up. And even though there's only like 2 arcs, I'll say, that go 2 episodes, and it literally says in the episode title, like, part 1, so that you know that it keeps going for the next episode, where like the Julia stuff could have been more like delved into in episodes outside of those 2-part arcs if it were more made in modern times. But this would never get made in modern times because some industry or committee somewhere would screw this up. I'm sure of it.
Now, I could be completely wrong, but maybe like back in the day, because like how you said, each episode had, you know, from the beginning to the end, and you could watch whatever episode out of order and still know what's going on because each episode is its own thing. And maybe this is just me just thinking about it, and now maybe coming to realize that they want to make it so that way, like if you're watching on TV, like you could watch whatever episode and still know what's going on.
You have a point there. That's another. I didn't even think about that as a benefit, but
Yeah.
it's super. You're super right. That, I mean, honestly, I think, yeah, if like in whatever 2003, 2004 on Adult Swim, you know, Toonami or whatever, where most of us kind of first saw this, if it was an open-ended beginning and an open-ended ending, I don't think it would have captured us nearly as well as it does, or it did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you mentioned it, Hero, because it occurred to me that you could pretty much throw on any episode of this show and maybe you wouldn't know all of the characters' backstories, so maybe a couple of lines would throw you off. But just about any episode except for the last couple,
Yeah.
you could pretty much dive into with no knowledge of the anime at all and still get a good experience out of it. It would be totally wasted if you watched the last 2 episodes first,
Yeah.
because I think the length of it adds to that. Because for 26 episodes, we've been hearing about Vicious, we've been hearing about Julia, and it's such a fixation for Spike that when we get to those last couple episodes, it feels like closure for us too, because it's all we've been hearing about.
Even Jet says it in the anime too, where it's just like every time he hears Jet, every time he hears Vicious and Julia, it's like a trigger word, and it's a nightmare that just wants to go away.
Yeah, it's true. It's, I mean, in that middle one, yeah, he hears Julia's name. It's like codename Julia, and Spike's just like, I'm out. And he just like is in his, his spaceship just flying away before Jet can even really like react almost.
Jet kicks him out like 3 times.
He does.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, Spike, if you go and do this, then you're off the ship for good this time, I swear.
I promise you, I'll change the code.
You're off the case.
If you bring him back and get us the bounty, I'll bet you back on the ship. Spike lets the guy go. This is like, yeah, he let Gren, like he sent Gren off into like space in the spaceship after Jet was like, if you bring him back and get the bounty, I'll let you back on the ship. It's like, well, he's back on the ship anyway. He's like that dad, that parent that was always like, if you don't get your shit together, you're gonna be on the street. And they just never follow through on their threats. Which, speaking of Gren, it is so interesting the way that the show tackles like kind of transgender identity and gay, like LGBT issue, like stuff. Like it's not like they're tackling issues or anything.
Yeah.
And you could look at it as just like a shock value thing to an extent. But the fact that it's present, but not overtly negative, like it's not when Faye walks in on Gren in the shower, and she's like, what the whoa whoa, and he is, they have, I don't know, he operates as a dude, so he has breasts and all that, and she's like, what's the deal here? That's about as like off-putting as it gets.
I liked his response though. The question that she asked in English anyway was, which are you?
Yeah.
And he replies, I'm both.
Yep.
So
exactly. Yeah. And I think in that same earlier in like the episode before it, Faye was trying to track down Gren and bursts in on two dudes just in bed together.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember thinking that to myself. It's just there.
Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah.
It doesn't factor in any way. She's not like, oh, you guys are like, there's no like
ill gross or anything where like right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's none of that. There's no judgment. She's just like,
exactly.
Where's this guy? And they move on. And it doesn't factor in anything anywhere ever again. Which, I don't know, lends itself to like, it's normalcy, It's treated just like everything else. It's treated just like, hetero relationship would be, How many times do you see that scene in movies where a dude bursts in on a dude and a lady in bed and is like, tell me where they are, or something like that, in like a thriller movie, and it's treated as a normal thing. You never see it, especially in Western cinema or anything, like where it's two dudes in bed just treated as normal, and it's not like ever really referenced. The same sex part of it isn't even referenced. So I just liked how they normalized everything of it. And then when it wasn't normalized, like with the whole Gren thing, he explained, and then they talked, and Faye was cool, like, I don't know. It's so ahead of its time.
Yeah, no, I agree. When I was rewatching it, I watched Cowboy Bebop way when it first popped off, and now like rewatching it, I was like, wow, this is insane that they had all these the LGBTQ and all this other stuff in here. I'm like, this is ahead of its time. And I was so confused when I was watching it as a kid. Like, I don't know, what do they mean by both? And now that, I'm older and I understand things more, and I'm just like, that's pretty awesome.
And Ed too, as being like,
yeah, yes. Like every so often people would be like, a girl or a boy, like they would mix up. I don't want to say mix up, but like they would call Ed different genders than even their own father was just like that, a boy or girl. I don't remember.
He called Ed Francois for some reason.
That's right.
I'm not even certain that Ed cares. Ed only refers to them. I think I'm gonna say themselves as Ed in third person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think Ed ever genders themselves. It's just what other people have decided, and Ed doesn't even care either. Whether or not they call Ed a boy or a girl.
Exactly.
Ed doesn't care. Ed never corrects them.
The closest we get to any kind of like confirmation or not, it's like at the end of the first episode we see her face like, oh, you're a girl, and Ed just goes and that's as close as we get to any kind of confirmation one way or another, which isn't at all. So no, I like the way they tackled all of the androgyny, the fluidity, all that. It just the sense of normalcy that they tackled all that stuff with was great.
It's a very inclusive universe. It never felt like anybody was judged by something out of their control. There was no sense of racism or homophobia or transphobia that I ever felt, that I ever picked up on.
Yeah, same. Like, everybody's too busy. They got environmental terrorisms to worry about. Okay, they got old ladies blowing up spaceships.
True.
So, something I thought was funny at the very beginning of that episode, Jet is mentioning that the sea rats are not actually a delicacy. They were just advertised as such. Yep. And Spike says, well, in that case, I'll just have lobster.
Mm-hmm. Oh, oh, the irony. I didn't even pick up on that. You're right.
Jeez, wow.
You're right. That's crazy. Because, yeah, like, what is it? In, like, the Philippines and stuff, it's like a pest, isn't it? Like, there's so much of it in, like, Indonesia, and it's so good. I love it. It's good.
Yeah, it used to be the poor workers' dish, and now it's a delicacy.
That's crazy. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. That's great.
Hello, everybody. I'm Shark Wellington with my 2 bounty heads in the mid-roll.
Hello, we're in the back of his car.
Time Muffin didn't have a segue this time, so I'm going to segue by talking about how he didn't have a segue.
Perfect. I love that segue. That's a quality segue.
And listen, we've all had some fun today. Yeah. Now it's time to not have fun and beg you to rate our show
no fun.
Wherever you're listening.
Serious business.
Be it on YouTube or Spotify or even Google Apple Fi.
You like Google Apple Fi?
Perfect.
Share us with your friends too, because we are working so hard on this. I love you guys. Time Muffin's on the floor, so he can't. Time Muffin's trying to get
a new cat found a new hiding place. I have to get her out. She's by all the cords. My computer might shut down.
Please share this podcast so that Time Muffin's computer won't shut down.
Please, we need it
with
on.
your friends.
Okay.
We are watching Time Muffin.
Now, guys, remember, you know that meme on Twitter that people are doing? Just picture that. That's what Time Muffin's doing on the floor right now.
Oh my gosh.
We're doing the Jacko challenge, trying to get the cat out from behind my desk.
Time Muffin is presenting to all of you.
Yes.
What can I say? What can I say?
Time Muffin is ready to do what it takes to get you to listen to this podcast with your friends.
We need to do some cat proofing in this room, apparently. I didn't realize needed to be done. Do you need to cat proof your room and need fabric to do that? go to www.prettyflyforasenpai.com. There's lots of fabrics with our logos on them that you can use to cat-proof your house.
Hero, what's your favorite thing about listening to our podcast that we recorded with people that you love?
You know, I like the one thing I like about it. We have a community going. We have our Discord that is linked down below, where we do watch parties every time we watch a new anime for the podcast. Do you want to talk to the senpais? Yeah. Do you want to talk to our community members? Yeah. We're all cool. We hang out doing the peace sign thing. You know?
Yeah. Hand signs. We have
Naruto no Jutsu.
Naruto no Jutsu. That's what we have.
Join the Discord, please.
I love sharing the podcast with my friends.
Oh, I love sharing the podcast with my friends, family, my dad, my mother, my father, my grandpa, my nephew.
I tell all my coworkers, and they say, "Man, this is like the 12th time you've told me about this podcast. Please stop." So
there might be a bounty on your head.
That's why I have the bounty on my head that I currently have. You should tell all of your friends and family about Pretty Fly for a Senpai until they exile you from family functions as well.
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
Maybe it is.
I gotta tell you what, even after having been in the podcast and knowing all the jokes before they're even said, I can't help but crack a big old smile every single one of them because I can just feel that happy energy coming from you guys, and just puts a smile on my face every time.
Go put that smile, if you feel the same way, go put that smile on all of your friends and family members' faces.
Heck yeah.
I feel the same way though, Shark. I'm in chill mode right now. I'm sorry. I'm in chill mode. I can't stop. I can't stop it.
Can't stop.
I'm in awkward. I'm in awkward chill mode. I can't.
This show is refreshing like a nice cold Pipoo.
I love it.
I'm gonna go get one now.
Me too.
Okay,
I'm gonna head over to the kitchen with you and open up the fridge.
Oh
Get-
no!
I'm walking here.
Oh, I'm walking here. Be careful, there might be my old lobster in the freaking fridge.
Oh no, the old lobster!
My lobster.
I love it. The writing in the show is so tight for as little dialogue as there is. Like you compare, I'm gonna go back to the more modern thing that we just watched, Dragon Maid. There's just so much dialogue. The entire story is dialogue. It's dialogue, dialogue. Which, to be fair, it's a slice of life. It's supposed to. There's a lot of dialogue, but in like the first 3 episodes of the series, I think there's maybe like half the dialogue that there is in one episode of like a modern anime, even in like a modern action anime, because I think one thing I like about it is they don't have to explain what they're doing while they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of modern stuff does. Like in a lot of, even in like stuff that doesn't explain where the powers come from, like in Reincarnated as a Slime, like Rimuru is just like, they got these powers, but Rimuru is still just talking all the time during the fight. All the time. Just non-stop talking. Everybody's talking during the fight. But when Spike or Faye or anybody else fights, they're just going for it. They're focusing on the fight. And the fight scenes are kind of the lobster of the of the show, you know? Like the animation can speak for itself. You don't need to have the characters quipping for the entire fight.
It kind of like goes back to like the whole it makes me think of like how DBZ, where during fights they have like inner thoughts and they're thinking things through, and they want the audience to know what they're thinking. But with Cowboy Bebop, there really isn't that much of that, and like I said, the animation, the music, like everything speaks for itself, and that's what I think, honestly, personally. People call this a classic. It's 110% is a classic. It's really good.
I think it speaks a little bit to how in tune the characters are with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That when there is a fight scene, maybe Spike would be in his spaceship and Jet stay back in the Bebop, and Spike would just say, "Jet, do this thing now," and Jet would do it without knowing why, and then we would see in real time why Spike told him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need he didn't need to explain his reasoning. Jet just trusted that Spike knew what he was doing, and we didn't need to explain to us because we would just see it in real time. Oh, that's why he did that, which was very good. They used every bit of time they had very effectively. And also on the topic of just not saying too much, I think this anime makes really good use of those moments of silence. A character would say something harsh or poignant, and the other character would look at them, and you could tell what they were thinking by their facial expression.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's stuff like, exactly. You can see the gears turning. You know what they're thinking when they don't even need to say it.
Mm-hmm.
The moments of silence. There was a lot. There were a lot of moments of silence where you were just kind of left to like linger on a moment or a shot and not really know 100% what it means or what it's there for, but. No, it's just the direction of it with all that, the audio direction, the visual direction, and all that. It was so well crafted, I would say, that you didn't need words in those moments.
Right. And it felt to me that in many ways the conversations were just as not necessarily action-packed, but just as interesting
110%.
as the fight scenes.
Agreed.
Because some conversations did kind of feel like a back and forth, trying to outsmart or trying to convince someone to do something. I've seen in some instances where, the communication is as important as being able to convince someone is as important as being able to fight them.
If you could avoid the fight in the first place, you've already won.
True.
Yeah, there you go. But I never thought to myself, man, this is way too much talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I never got worn out on the fight scenes either. The pacing was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a sort of transition to that, the first 9/10 episodes are so good as an introduction. Episode 9 is where Ed comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would argue that episode 9 is the end of the intro because all the characters are there at that point. But I remember episode 1. When I watched episode 1, the whole time I was thinking, man, I forgot how good this was. The introduction's so good. The first bit is Spike and Jet talking about how they got beef and bell peppers with no beef in it. So and Jet is talking about how they have no money because Spike has wrecked their ship during the last bounty hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So we've established so much so quickly that they're poor, that Spike is reckless, that they're bounty hunters, that the ship is Jet's. And then we have this very relatable story of a woman who just wants to get away and live her own life, but she's stuck with this destructive criminal,
Mm-hmm.
but she doesn't seem to see a different way to get to Mars. That whole story made me feel so sad.
Yeah, that's another thing that I like about it is all these stories, for the most part, they're all very human stories. Like, I mean, Pierre Lamont probably notwithstanding, but like the woman in the first episode, just feeling helpless, and like the only way, like you said, the only way she can escape and get her own life is eventually she'll get out from under the thumb of this crazed drug addict lunatic, and I mean ultimately she ends up killing him to kind of do that, I guess, have a little bit of freedom before eating shit, I guess.
that shot where the vials of the drugs were coming out of her stomach
Mm-hmm.
was so much symbolism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm losing my mind thinking about it again.
It's really good.
Because I have to imagine she wanted a family someday.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the moment that it all went away. That, and just the vials coming out of her stomach kind of looked like, blood also coming out of her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And just, it's over, it's not happening. And she's just floating in space, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. That first episode was...
There's a lot of symbolism.
Speaking of very human characters, Rocco, I believe was how you pronounce it. The guy who wanted Spike to be his mentor. And he had the very expensive
I forgot about
plant
him.
on Venus.
Yeah.
Because his sister was blind from the Venus air.
I bawled.
Yeah.
That was a really good episode.
Absolutely.
100%. It's he wants to pay for the surgery to like not having the funds to pay for the surgery to help his sister out. Like, go fund me to save my sister.
Very relatable story.
Good old Joey Wheeler story. Got to get that prize money.
Joey Wheeler. Oh my god.
I don't know what you're referencing.
That's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh.
He's the sidekick in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Bada bing.
Bada bing. Bada boom.
To return to Shark's Fun voice actor corner, the English voice actor for Rocco is Also the voice of the mighty Creblante.
Oh my god! It always goes back to One Punch Man.
Oh, man. Fucking Criblante.
Oh man.
Master, they drew nipples on me with permanent marker.
Fantastic.
You just gotta be like water.
Freaking big chin.
I was
kid.
gonna say too, the girl, I forgot what the character's name was, the one that is in Big Shot, the female. She does the voice for Millie in Trigun.
Oh my. Okay.
I didn't
It's like the opposite character.
Yeah. It blows my mind. I was like, wait a second. This is crazy.
I love it.
They did so dirty by Big Shot.
They did.
I am sad. Oh, like I even remembered that the show gets canceled, and I was dreading that part because
You're having so much fun.
I did really like the bit of closure with the man
With his mom
in that show. Yeah, with his mom.
Yeah, that was
she was saying,
I choked up just a little bit, but it's okay.
she ran away because she thought nobody wanted to take care of her. And then he runs after her and says, "Ma, I'll take care of you. I'll find a new job. Don't you worry."
Adorable.
It was so cute.
I think the whole series has a good sense of just closure in general.
I agree.
Like, it is very, like, a core theme throughout the whole thing is, like, you know, just finality kind of writ large. It's like, everything comes to an end at some point.
I feel like at the end of Cowboy Bebop, it's just, we don't know, we know that Ed is off on a journey and trying to just do whatever Ed wants to do. I feel like I don't get closure of what Jet's doing. Is Jet just going to just do whatever and still be a bounty hunter? And Faye, is she just going to hang around Jet? Like, or since Faye has her memory now, is she just going to go off into her own thing? I mean, I wish I knew what happens to those two, because I feel like I missed something. I felt like I didn't understand or what they're going to do after.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, it feels like it's mostly like they try to focus a lot on like Spike's story. Like all the other character development stuff was there, but it's like this is Spike's story.
The Spike's world.
Yeah, and once like, and it's good that they have given like open ends to the people he's close to. I think, given that he knew, I'm sure he kind of understood what he was walking into in the last couple episodes, so like he knew the writing was on the wall, and it's just like I like that they at least gave everybody else kind of a way forward. But like throughout the whole thing, it's like all situations, good or bad, are there. They will come to an end at some point. Like even the Rocco episode, or Rocco, like he's part of a gang. Oh no, and like, because he's trying to save his sister, and she, you know, her terrible situation comes to an end at the same time it intersects with Rocco's life coming to an end, unfortunately. But it's like, I don't know, maybe that's not a fully fleshed out thought in my head right now, but
well, that scene where Spike comes back in the middle of the night and says, "Hey, I'm starving. Make me some food." And I don't even remember what he made. Maybe it was beef and bell peppers again. And he's just munching on it, saying food sucks like usual. And him and Jet are just, you know, back and forthing a little bit. I think he wanted to give Jet a little bit of, just for old time's sake, something to remember me by, a little bit of conversation, because I imagine he figured it can only end one way. And I felt kind of bad about Faye's ending, because I think we I think the last we see of her is when she's crying and shooting the pistol in the air as Spike is walking away. And I did think to myself, out of any of the characters, I don't know what Faye's going to do, because she still is going to be chased her whole life about her cryogenic freezing bill. She doesn't really have a plan for that aside from desperately gamble every time you get a little bit of money.
Right, she does that, doesn't she? I forget about that. Yeah. I like every episode they get money, she steals it and goes and gambles it away.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was one episode she actually won. And what did she do? She buys a bunch. It was I think it was the dog race, and then she ends up just putting all of it down with she had a bunch of tickets in her hand and just loses it all. I go, man, you had it. Just walk away.
Easy come, easy go.
That's gambler's fallacy for you.
Oh God, Shark! I literally was going to bring that up. I was going to say how I love how at the end when we see see you Space Cowboy. If something like I don't want to say. I don't want to say good happens or like something that's very impactful. They changed the ending, like how Shark said. It was easy, there was one that was easy come, easy go. Sleeping Beast, Life is but a dream. The last one got me. You got to carry that weight. I'm like, oh God.
See you, cowgirl. Someday, somewhere.
I loved. See you, Space Samurai.
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
Where do you guys think Ed went back to? Because Ed's two main options were to go and look for their dad or go back to their, what was that? The daycare that Ed got left at. Where do you think Ed went?
I don't know. I would imagine like. There's a part of me that feels like they'd go look for their family, because that like it's like a cosmic pull kind of thing almost, just in real life to like just wanting to be with family to an extent. So that's my guess.
Well, see, I think the whole after Faye talked to Ed about I think it was like finding. I forgot it was like finding something that they're meant for, something weird like that. I don't remember exactly, but I think I think like exactly what you're saying, Time Muffin, is they found their dad, and they could be going to find father and do what father does, or Ed do what Ed do, and Ed just wants to just maybe go on own adventure. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally would have thought that Ed would have gone back to the daycare because Ed never particularly seemed as though they were searching for their dad specifically. It was a sort of a happy accident, and then they meet the dad for a minute or two, and then the dad leaves them again. Like, all right,
where's the milk?
True. Oh God.
It's like, yeah. What does the dad say? Like, oh, I left you at a daycare and I forgot where I put you. Like, oh, come on.
Forgot Ed's name. Yeah. Francois, I remember you.
Yeah. I still think seeing how even when like in real life, in personal interactions with people, like how even when I don't know, if you have a history of like abuse, let's say, which Ed doesn't have, I don't think, other than maybe neglect, but like the pull for some people to just be attached to family and want to track them down and be with them and do whatever they can for them no matter what is just so strong in some people that,
as Dom would say, nothing stronger than family.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ancient meme hero.
Oh, shoot. But yeah, no, I mean, it could be either one, but it's just like seeing and as many people as I have that have been like abused and treated real bad by their family members, just keep going back to that well over and over again. I'm like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's just like, Ed, you're just gonna get hurt. You're just gonna get hurt.
I think the main image that I remembered from this series and that I was waiting for when I started watching it again was that scene of Spike looking out the window, and there's that graffiti on the ground, just a big smiley. It says bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
And then he and Jet are just eating the eggs that they got, and they're saying nothing at all, just trying to distract themselves with food. And then they move on to Ed's and Faye's plates and start eating their eggs. Because they're like, well, they're gone. Yeah. My eggs now, I guess. And they're just shoving them in their mouths. Just,
I just felt the sadness in that scene. Like, even though no words were said, and just how fast, like, Spike was eating the eggs, you made you feel like you're just trying to eat the sadness away. And I'm just like, man, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Shoving like 3 eggs in his mouth. Just, I was like, you're gonna choke. That eggs are gonna dry out your mouth. You don't have any liquids.
You don't have any liquids.
Think about your cholesterol. There's so much.
It's through the roof.
Yeah, the thing is, that goes back to like the silence thing. It's like they didn't need to say how sad they were.
Oh, you just felt it.
Yeah,
you just feel it.
And that's what I love.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about it is like I don't even have like much more to say about it because it is so like it is a simple story with, I'm not going to say simple characters because the characters aren't simple, but like the situations that they find themselves in and the human problems that they deal with over the course of the thing is just they're so, I mean, they're not relatable, but you know, you could see them being relatable, you know. Oh, a guy, you know, medical debt. I need to pay for a medical thing to save my sister or whatever, you know, stuff like that. It's all just so emotional. It's all like the story is in how it makes you feel to an extent.
The story doesn't rely on the setting.
Mm-hmm.
The overall beats of, you know, the love triangle, the sister who needs surgery, wanting to escape and go hide somewhere. They could have happened, you know, 200 years ago or 200 years in the future. Either one would have been able to draw on the environment. And I think that is why it's so human and so relatable, is that any one of the stories we could see playing out similarly in our everyday lives, even if we wouldn't be in space. Well, not every single one of them. The satellite that comes to life is maybe.
But he's so lonely that he's destroying other people's things to entertain himself. Anyway, that's I don't know. That's a wild interpretation of that episode, but
there was just never a moment where I just yelled out, "Why would you do that?" Everybody's motivations made sense, and everybody acted in a way that made sense. And I think that's what really brings it all together, is that nothing felt out of place, and no person felt out of place. It's a nice wrapped up present. Here you go. Happy early Christmas.
Here you go. Happy. I like that it is so self-contained as well. That it kind of, I don't know, wraps up nice, not a neat little bow, but like
it's not sequel chasing. It's
yeah.
not trying for that season 2.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like even like, you know, the movie they came out with like later, they're like, oh yeah, this is between episodes 22 and 23. So they're not, even with that, they're not like, yeah, this is actually after we got zombie Spike Spiegel.
Oh, he wasn't actually dead.
Yeah.
Which, if I have one big hope for the Netflix series, they have got to kill Spike at the end. And that is my biggest fear, is that he's gonna wake up. It was 2 inches to the left of your heart. You almost died.
Yeah.
Now let's go right off into the sunset. No, it's please, Netflix. He has to die. That's how the story ends.
He's required to. I could see them being cash grabby about it, though.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they won't do like a 212 episode kind of joint to get 2 seasons out of it, but split it up a little bit. Because I could see at the end of that middle vicious chapter, you go, okay, this is the end of season 1. You know, if you wanted to, if you wanted to cut it up. Yeah, no, that's you're right though. I feel it the same way that I hope they don't. John Cho looks dope, by the way, as Spike. Some people are saying he's too old to be Spike Spiegel. I don't see that at all. Dude looks dapper as shit. He's fly as fuck. I'll grab a picture here.
There is there's not a lot of people, but some people that I talk to about the live action, they're like, Faye's outfit looks different, and like Jet is black, and it's just like, dude, like there is some type of you can't. I don't want to say you can't just go. I get like you are. I'm trying to get out of my thoughts here because I'm so frustrated about it, because I understand that you want things to be 1, 2, 3, 4, but there's certain things that don't fly anymore, and there's certain things that you want to include all races, and you don't want to I don't want to say whitewash. I don't want to say it like that, but I mean it's pretty much, you don't want it to be like that, and it's just wild that people are complaining about it.
You want it to be inclusive, and here's a counter argument. Jet's voice actor Bo Billingsley is black, and I was thinking to myself when Jet was talking, I have heard this voice somewhere before, and it was scratching the back of my brain.
Now we're back to Shark's voice acting corner.
It's my thing. All right, voices are my thing, but it's Old Man Rom.
No way.
Like the same voice, playing back to back.
You're right.
It's Old Man Rom.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no. My only thing is they still haven't shown anything about Ed. And I really want Ed to be in this.
That's part of why I'm feeling like I don't know how, like, what portion they're going to. Like, you do see like the shootout in a church here, like in one of the screenshots, which would be like episode 5.
They could be potentially doing 2 seasons, but like you would think that Ed would be a part of, like, I don't know, the first, like at least near the end of the first season. Yeah,
that's the hope. I do want to see who would be Ed. Who Ed be?
Who'd be Ed?
It makes me a little nervous that the show is going to remove the goofiness that makes it so endearing in the original anime. All of this promotional stuff that you shared, they're really cool shots. They're very cool. They all look very, very cool. But all the characters are also goofy. Yeah. At least in the anime. And I hope they keep some of that goofiness.
There are a couple of, like, I think that they're just trying to get, like, I think that they're still going to be goofy. I don't know. Like, what's her name? The Faye actress is, what did she say? I think that she said people were criticizing the outfit and stuff, and she's like, I'm sorry that, they looked all over the place for 6'5", triple D, 2-inch waisted woman, but they couldn't find it, so they just had to hire my short ass. And it's like, it's when it comes to real, actual human beings, you just can't find the people that you think would be best to fit the role sometimes. And I mean, looking at the picture, like, the outfit's different. Like,
but I think it's fine.
It's fine. It's the same enough.
You get the point.
I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Faye's outfit is totally ridiculous.
It's insane.
I was about to say.
Her suspenders go through her butt crack, okay?
She got that Borat mankini going
True.
on.
Yeah, like she could take off her shorts and it'd be a mankini underneath, pretty much.
there is just some anime clothing. It's very, very hard to reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, then you look at Spike, where it's like a reasonable outfit, and you look at the picture of John Cho in with the headphones, and it's like, oh shit, that's Spike. Like, even if I didn't know that that's what this was from, I go, oh shit, that's fucking Spike Spiegel right there.
They did do a good job with that outfit. The rolled up sleeves, the loose tie, the collar is all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he tries a little bit, but he doesn't exactly know how.
Yeah. And they try their best to emulate, like, further down in the art, they have him walking through the church, kind of covered in blood and stuff. And it's like, they try their best with the way they cut the pants to make his legs look real long. But, like Spike's are. But, God, it's I don't know. It all depends on the execution. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
I hope that they can capture everything that was great about the anime but not like make it a shot for shot redo, but with people instead of drawings, you know, but it's hard. That's the thing that's so hard about these live action adaptations is like, well, the fans want the story, but they also want something new in the same style. But then you have some people that are going to get mad about the new stuff because it's not canon. And then you have other people who, they just want new stuff because this is the same story. They're so lazy, these writers. They just told the same story again. So it's hard to...
It's tricky. And I think my metric is that it should do its best with interpreting the story and maybe expanding the story. My biggest problem always happens when the director and the writers think to themselves, we can do this better. Because that's always when it ends up feeling weird or shoehorned or something just isn't right. I think I personally truly believe the best adaptation that has ever been done is Holes. The movie Holes.
I agree.
Where they tell the story almost the same as it was, but then they fill in some gaps, some questions that people had maybe reading the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love it if in a Netflix series, they would answer a few of those questions that you have from the anime about what are they going to do next? Where is that going? And I mean, the questioning, the not quite resolved nature of the ending does lend a lot. So maybe they don't have to fill in what happens next. But I think that's what I would love to see is the big story beats and a little bit of extra explanation.
That we didn't get in the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
agree.
pretty nice. I think a lot, after just us talking about it and thinking about it, maybe it's supposed to be meant to leave off with our imagination what we think the characters are doing or whatever. But I agree. I hope that the Netflix adaptation will maybe just add more. And I don't want to say give a reason to watch it because I'm going to watch either way. But it's just it's added to the franchise instead of just trying to. I don't want to say be its own thing, but you know.
I hope they can match that aesthetic.
Yes.
I want to see if they can do that, if they can pull it off. Like, there were so many things that were just so authentically late 90s in Cowboy Bebop, which naturally, makes sense that it would, since that's when it was made.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even something like as little as, when they turn on Big Shot, and you've got the big numbers up in the corner of the TV showing what channel it's on. The scan lines looking actually like scan lines, not like the filters you get in like retro games that have been emulated nowadays. Everything just felt so authentic to the technology. I mean, besides the crazy spaceship stuff, but like all of the personal technology they used was just so 90s that I hope they hit that aesthetic, because I don't know if, I mean, it feels like a timeless story, but I think it's the part of it, the charm comes from kind of that suit, not like steampunk, but like 90s punk aesthetic, 90s steampunk aesthetic with that like not totally modern stuff, but not like Victorian shit.
I would almost put it as that millennial style where we were where everything was like chromed out.
True.
It's the year 2000, baby.
Yo, dog, we got new metal tattoos with chrome. How's it going?
Yeah. That's sort of, we're living in the future and the present.
The future.
At the same time. Yeah, Backstreet Boys is back.
Hey, Backstreet's
All right.
back. All right.
Backstreet's that all right. We did it. Well, I don't have much else to say because there's kind of everything we've talked about so far.
I'm gonna be honest with you, 110%. Like I feel I don't have anything in my noggin I want to express because I feel like we've done it.
How about you, Shark?
Yeah, no, I think I've said pretty much everything I wanted to say.
Numbers time.
Oh boy, it's always numbers game, baby.
Numbers game. Hero, you go first.
All right, I'll be the one to set us off. I'm not gonna lie to you. This could be nostalgia talking, or you mean it could just be because I love 90s anime so much. But after like everything we talked about with the music, the just knowing what's going on within the scenes without having to know, without having words being said, and we can know what's being said. Just the anime was honestly a 10 out of 10 for me. This is my first 10 out of 10, and I'm happy it's Cowboy Bebop.
I have to agree with you, Hero. I think to myself, if I can't find anything wrong with it, I don't see a reason not to give it a 10. And I can't recall for one moment watching this anime thinking to myself, this episode sucks, or I don't like this character. I think that's animated weird, or that's out of place. Nothing shook me from the experience from start to finish. And so I agree, 10 out of 10. All killer, no filler.
Woo!
I'm gonna have to agree with y'all. It's a classic for a reason, and I'm glad that part of why we wanted to start this is to see, like, I kind of wanted to be like, do these classics hold up? Are they still classics? Do they still work? Are they prone to old Atlas style? They were cool in the mid 2000s, but now they're kind of yikes. And I'm so happy that the first kind of classic one we go back to is it holds up 100%. You could watch this today and get as much, if not more, enjoyment from it than you could have when it was first released.
There's so little like sort of time capsule whiplash that you get with those older shows where you think, I can't relate to this because it's old stuff that doesn't matter anymore. But it doesn't rely on when it came out. It's not referencing pop culture.
It's I think that focus that we talked about on human problems, the human problems that existed 25 years ago are still the problems that exist today. People
Facts.
are going to be dealing with those problems until there aren't humans anymore, because they're human problems. It's not like a situational kind of deal. But yeah, it's the fact that it holds up is great, as well as it does. It's really timeless, it feels like. And it's a true classic, and I hope that the live action doesn't fuck it up.
If it doesn't, we'll just pretend it doesn't exist like all the other things.
Oh,
we
perfect. Wait, you mean to tell me that the Death Note live action anime isn't canon?
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but
I want my Willem Dafoe Ryuk, please.
My cousin told me that movie was good. I go, are you kidding me? Have you watched Death Note? Oh my god.
Oh no. Yeah, it's like it's anime for people who don't want to watch anime.
Facts.
Which I hope they don't turn this into that. I hope that they keep this kind of. I don't know. I've said it 5 times already. I hope they keep it. I hope they keep it the same, but make it different enough in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I got a bounty on my head, guys, so I got to bail. Here's spaceships.
Oh, actually, I was here to collect that bounty.
Oh, well, shit.
It's a cool 5 million woolongs. Don't move.
5? Wow. That's an increase from the last time I heard.
Oh, wait. There's a period here.
Oh,
5 woolongs.
Oh,
close enough.
That's more like it. Here, I'll buy you a beer. How's that sound? Did that work for you? We'll throw in some fries on the side.
Sure thing. I'll make beef and bell peppers.
Perfect.
What are you bringing, hero? Otherwise, I'm taking your bounty too.
Oh, jeez. I got a virtual helmet. Worship this weird god.
Perfect.
All right. Well, while I take these 2 ruffians secretly to jail.
While they were talking about food, I'm out. Bye.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
I'm Time Muffin. I'm gone. Yells back to the bar.
I'm Shark Wellington, and I gotta go chase after Time Muffin now.
And I'm Hero 19X, and we'll see you later, Space Cowboy.